I spoil her with some soul trends. Good girl, platinum hoe, she on my team when I hang. You hear the echoes when bass scream, living that bay life. From the past, it's alright. You feeling depressed and go outside. The weed and the season make these hard times. Worth every time you spend on no life. Coulda take a staycation to Santa Cruz. To a car, I got drank. Bring the shoe, bring the speaker for the slap. Yes, set the mood. Tell them girls.
Hello. I should be looking at you, but I'm looking at my notes. Welcome to my channel. I am Mrs. Best. We have James from the Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel. You can absolutely go find his info in our description. I encourage you to subscribe to his channel. It's also right here for those who want to see it and type it. We do recaps together, so it's important that you subscribe to both of us. Anywho, we're here to go over the finale episode of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, which is season 11, episode 15. Wasn't much of a finale. I feel like they scrapped a lot because of the backlash and all that happened with Mena. So we're going to jump right into it, y'all, because it's late and I'm hungry. So the episode starts basically with everybody still in the Bahamas. We see everyone go on boat rides. Some of them are together, some of them are not. But while going on the boat ride, when Bambi, Sierra, in their little group, when they're getting ready to go, Erica Mena finally calls Bambi back. And in my opinion, Bambi is still trying to protect Mena. Bambi's a sellout. I think that most of the Black community, except for those who are ignorant, true to the definition, don't fuck with you, Bambi, no more. It's very difficult to defend someone who's potentially hating on your people. You can't expect us to like side with you, Bambi. It has nothing to do with your marriage and Scrappy or any of that. We don't give a damn about your divorce and don't understand why it was filmed. But to stand beside somebody like Mena for that, and the reason I say she was trying to protect Mena, you guys, is because when she spoke to Mena and heard the word blackout, Bambi took blackout and ran with it. Well, she blacked out, so she didn't mean to. And it's absolutely important to me that I want to, have a conversation with my friend to make sure they're not racist. Bambi, it wasn't important to you to ensure that your friend did not make racial comments until your other Black friends, majority, had to look at you like you was crazy. Because prior to anybody having an issue with the comments, Bambi is the only one who was like, well, this is alleged if this really happened. Not even Sierra did that. People don't play about race, usually. Most people with some type of a moral compass don't play about race. So they're not just going to accept that. So I thought that was interesting. And Amy Luciani said in her confessional what we were all thinking. She said, a blackout is not flying, Bambi. You're lacking responsibility as a Black woman. And I agreed with Amy when she said that. Because y'all on this show, you can fight, squab, do what you got to do, act the fool. But we really should have zero tolerance for certain stuff. So what did you think of the phone call and how Bambi handled all of that?
I didn't think anything of the phone call because I knew that was going to be Erica deflecting from what she did. So I didn't really care about that. One thing I'm going to say about Bambi, because, it's not that I don't like Bambi. It's just that I don't like her ways. And the problem that I have with that, because if it was them Govan sisters who actually are half Black, you would have been all up and down and all up and through cussing them out, talking about racism and this and this and that. Because Laura Govan says a lot of problematic shit. She does.
She does.
So you went hard on them. So when Erica does it, because that's your friend who ain't even Black, that's okay. She has a blackout moment. We have sympathy for her. Really? That's what we do? No, we don't do that at all. And see, the thing about it is, what people have to understand, when we call out racism, it's so that we can prevent the struggles of that happening again. The struggles of our histories repeating itself. So when we bring attention to it, it's not to be an irritant. It's not to, call it out because we're trying to be a part of this, woke. It's like, no, we literally are trying to make sure that the thoughts of racism do not happen in the same capacity that it happened when our ancestors had to go through. So because racism never left you guys, it never left. It just looks differently today.
Mm-hmm.
We experience it differently today.
I think that
So
a lot of
we
people
have
have
to.
expectation they're going to receive it in a way that was depicted back when the civil rights movement was happening, and it just does not
Right.
always look that way. It never
It does
looks
not
the
look that
same.
way. Just like police brutality never stopped. It just looks different. Now the uses of weapons and guns are more acted upon than it was then. Back then it was just dogs and bats. So like I said, same thing, same concept. It just looks differently. So we have to realistically, Bambi, what I would have liked you to have done, if you weren't going to really hold her to task, then I wanted you to stay neutral and just shut up. Because if you don't, because to me that would be more tolerable than you trying to paint this picture that Erica is just some saving angel that just had a bad moment.
Yeah,
That's
and
just
Spice said it. She's like, fine, defend the racial slur if you want to. It's filmed. See how that plays out. And I noticed once that was said, then suddenly Bambi's like, well, if this did happen, girl, bye. But at the same time, I'm not surprised that Bambi would like be okay with this. I feel
no,
like
me either.
her and Erica Mena only have a friendship based on being bitter baby mamas. I'm sorry. I don't think that all baby mamas are bitter. I really don't. But these ones specifically, Sierra, Erica, Bambi, I understand that y'all were wronged by men. But just because you were wronged by men does not give you the right to go and act like a complete donkey for most people who have to deal with
I
you.
was just about to say the same thing because all of the men that y'all, well, maybe not Sierra. I don't know about that. But I know Safari and I know Scrappy came with Yelp reviews, red flags, and all kind of
Google reviews, Yelp
Google
reviews,
reviews.
Foursquare
They came
reviews.
with all kind of background for y'all to run in the other direction.
Yes. Yes.
But you thought you was different and you thought you was exceptions. I don't know why you women do this. I don't understand this. I don't understand why y'all women think that when men get with you, they're going to be different. Sometimes it does happen. But as I said, men that cheat, and I said this before to one of my good friends, I'll say here on this, is cheating is realistically a taught habit. It really is. And I'm gonna tell y'all like this. I have a philosophy that I've stuck to with this. A mother gives her son a toy, and she says, "Play with the toy and have fun with it." And then what happens after a couple months? That child gets bored with that toy because it no longer knows how he wants to play with it. So what does the mother do? Buy him another one. And so a boy recycles that mindset that if I tell my mom I'm bored, or if I have my mom that I'm bored, I can get a new toy and I can just discard that other toy that I had before. What a mother should do is tell this boy, because it has not been long that he has this toy, to find a better way to play with it or find a new way to play with it. But to value it versus saying, I could just make it recyclable and go get another one. Because that's how you teach your children to cheat. If y'all really want to know where that originates from, it's not all the time, but in most cases, that's exactly how it happens. That's how boys' minds work. So y'all have to understand that. And this is a study of biology. I'm the study of life. Remember. So that's my philosophy.
Well, the next thing we see, because I think it's clear everybody can see, Bambi I don't know what her issue was. And I think she's going to regret defending Mena the way that she did. In terms of her career as well. Because she already lacked respect and is known as that chick in the hot tub with no neck Benzino. Now you're known as the chick in the hot tub with no neck Benzinos. Rasheeda's husband. You was married to Scrappy. That wasn't smart. And now you're the black lady defending the racist lady. So it's just like, Bambi, I don't know what the hell is going on, but I think it's best if she just lay low and shut the hell up for during this time that they're not on TV. We don't want to see nothing. We don't want to hear nothing. And I find it interesting that once this whole situation happened with Spice and Mena, suddenly Bambi don't have nothing to talk about when it comes to her man. She can suddenly make peace with him and give him a hug and hear him out. Like, I don't buy any of these bitches. So the next thing we see is Erica Mena shooting Hush in Washington, D.C. The B3ST channel does not support, nor do we want anybody to feel as though we are giving people who are racist, discriminatory, prejudiced, bias, any of that a space. But Erica Mena is a part of this show, so I do have to discuss what I see on this show. So I am going to discuss her. So those who are mad, that is the reason why. So she's filming for Hush, which is a TV show, I believe, on All Black, which is a umbrella company of WE TV. And she was fired for Hush. Pretty much All Black parted ways with Erica Mena the same way that MTV did. She was not just fired from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. She was fired from a few other things as well. In the show that we see her shooting is one of them. She's in the trailer with her Black children, and she is still bitching about Safari. It's like, if I let a slur like that come out of my mouth, or even something that can be interpreted that way if it wasn't, I'm not going to be on TV still bitching about the same shit that everyone's vocalized that they're tired of hearing about. I'm going to speak about how bad I feel about making this slurs while I have my Black children in my hands. But she did not do that because she does not feel bad, y'all. She doesn't feel bad. So she basically, we see her discuss the comment, and she keeps trying to lean into the, I blacked out. I might have said that. She talked about my son, and she should respect that. So Erica expresses that her oldest son, King, is not on the show because he doesn't want to be. He's a teenager, and she respects that, which I think is good. However, Erica, it doesn't make any sense. When you called Spice a monkey, you called your kids monkeys too. That's what you don't understand. You tried to direct something towards one person, but it's derogatory, so you directed it towards everybody who is of African descent, as Yendi said. So she basically apologizes only after production shows herself making this comment. And I didn't even peep. I've been seeing online that people are like, she made monkey sounds. Listen, I do my best with watching the shows. I'm somebody's wife. I'm a full-time student. I work. So I don't always get to keep up with the tabloids and social stuff. But I did see some of these things. So I'm just kind of in my head like, Erica, why did he have to show you yourself saying this for you to understand the gravity? And here's where I call bullshit. Yes, she may have been mad. And for those who try and defend her, say, oh, she may have just let it slip out or this and that. Spice really looks like an animal, so on and so forth. Okay, fine. You can say that. But she said you monkey. Then she escalates to you blue monkey. Then it comes you ugly Black monkey. Then it turns into the noises that she made, which I will not make to offend certain people. So the escalation of how she used the slur, she used it because she felt like the only way she could hurt Spice as much as she felt hurt about her kid was to get at her entire race. So I don't trust Erica Mena as far as I can throw her. And I can't throw her very far because her titties look like they weigh her down because, you know, they don't move. So that's all I can say about that. James, what did you think about how long she took to apologize, the fact that she had to apologize when she saw herself on camera, and her energy, which we'll see later on, first publicly and in the world, is not the same as it was. I'm so sorry. You're not sorry. You're not sorry. That's how I feel. How do you feel about it? Oh, Lord, here's the microphone, y'all.
So let me say this, because I want to make something very apparent when it comes to that situation. You could have went so many different directions with this, other than the race card. Because when she said your son didn't like you, as I said in the last few reviews, you could have easily thrown up in her face, where are your kids again? Are they in that 10-bedroom home? I don't think so. Last I checked, they weren't. You could have easily thrown that back in her face, that her kids aren't even in her house, the big ass house that she has. And I get people are going to say, well, she's fighting for citizenship. And but
No,
my thing is this.
you
My thing
don't.
is this. She shouldn't be here with her. She shouldn't be here without her children. If that's really what it is. Because I understand, traveling and, going to different places, trying to provide a living for your children. I understand that wholeheartedly. But the point is that she's in a big ass house without her children. And Erica could have easily thrown that back in her face in that way. And then we would have had a whole different argument. Right? But because she went the race route, and then it took her to see herself, not necessarily being in that moment because she shouldn't have said it, but it took her to see herself to then warrant an apology, which means that you're trying to do whatever you could to save his job.
Right.
And it wasn't about.
You don't feel that what you did was.
It wasn't about
wrong.
actually wrong. Yeah. You knew that you had to succumb. Paycheck. We all have done it.
Listen, to people with children, somebody saying your child don't like you, that's an insult towards you, not your child. Now, if somebody says your child look like Tom, Dick, and Harry, then that's them talking about your child. But if someone is saying your child does not like you, that is not them directly talking about your child. Now,
because let me be clear, I feel like
I'm not giving y'all an English lesson because I think the problem is a grammatical issue for people who are.
No, I don't even think it's that. I feel like, well, yeah, that is true. No, I'm gonna give you that. But I feel like the only reason why that hurt Erica is because I believe that's something she told Spice.
She did tell Spice that, and that's the thing. Separate from that, Spice and Erica to me are shitty people. They're horrible examples of humans, in my opinion, because to get mad, I've fallen out with friends. There's people that I'm not cool with. I would never say some of the things that they have said to each other or take something that someone told me when they were in pain or in confidence and throw it back in their face just because I'm mad. And I don't have people do me dirty. I'm not going to do that. So it's definitely very telling to who both of them are as people. The Erica with your basically damn near blackface for makeup, she put the darkest foundation on herself to make herself look like certain types of people. So sometimes I think for those who are in pain and bothered by her comments, we have to remember that her comments can come from jealousy. She wishes she had the magic. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. We'll leave it there. So the next thing we see is the group is back on the boat ride. You could tell this was a mess. That's why I said earlier, James, I was like, I feel like them going on a cast trip for Love and Hip Hop was real ghetto. This is not the Housewives of Atlanta. Like, this is a cast of people who barely know how to act in public and are lucky that they got famous. Like, they're not, they don't, the way that this trip was filmed and organized to me was just a hot mess. So they're back on the boat ride. We see the group going to feed pigs. They're going to feed little piglets. Listen, I don't understand that. I don't understand the feeding pigs. I don't want to touch pigs. I don't eat pork. I want nothing to do with pigs as a creature. However, what I did find funny was Jessica. Why did I want to call her Jessica Dime? She's not Jessica Dime. Jessica White, whatever the hell her name is. She was so upset about them pigs. She said, they're not fucking happy. They're not fucking free. Why should they have to beg for food? She was hot. She was mad that the pigs were there. I'm like, Jessica, have you never been to the islands or seen somebody on the islands? Don't they do that? I always see people riding pigs, feeding pigs, riding horses in the water, all that type of shit. So I didn't understand why she was so upset by that, but I thought it was funny as hell. So then we see that after they feed the pigs, that Sierra wants for Spice and Bambi to talk, which in my opinion, I think that Spice is an impossible person to talk to when she's upset. That's just how I feel. I've never seen her on this show have an issue and like properly talk it through without yelling or destroying property first. That's just what I get from Spice. But they speak, and basically Bambi thinks that she is owed an apology. And it's a strong it's a strong no. Jessica White tries to explain things to Spice, and Spice looked at Jessica White and was like, I don't know you, but nice to meet you. I'm like, what the hell? So it's just a hot mess with them trying to explain things. They got nowhere with it. So I am going to keep going because it's not, in my opinion, anything deep to discuss. The next thing we see is Carly Red is asked about Spice. And basically, Carly Red explains that she never moved into the house because Spice was so upset. And after seeing everyone peaceful and making up, Carly's like, well, maybe we can make peace. So Sierra basically publicly apologized about minding her business. This is something else that happened. She publicly apologizes to Scrappy for getting in his face and says that she should have minded her business. So I guess she's going through some sort of reckoning. I'm not going to even further comment. This was really a kind of like boring finale, in my opinion. Not much happened. So we're probably going to ship through this in probably like 10, 15 more minutes. She apologizes for being nosy. It just felt fake. The internet's been speaking for weeks about how she's too nosy. Why is she getting a scrap? None of this her business. And now suddenly you guys are editing in all this stuff. Now I'm sure she figured out that she probably should not be hollering at somebody else's due, but for them to be going off on that man the way that they did and doing all that they did throughout the season, the BBMC, Better Baby Mama Club, y'all can't really expect to just solve stuff with an apology. Like, you're going to have to dig a little deep. That's all I'm saying about that. Basically, Spice apologizes to everyone that she's wronged except for Carly Red. And I don't think Spice is ever going to be more accountable. And everybody accepts Spice's opinion, but the one thing Bambi said that I agreed with is she was like, I see how Spice move. I'm going to keep her at a distance. Some may call that scary, but I think with Spice, I think it's just best to keep her at a distance. That lady is angry. She is angry as hell, and I can't understand like why she's so angry, but she's angry. Moving on, Rasheeda basically brings up Carly Red to Spice because Rasheeda and them talk, and she's like, well, maybe I could get Spice so she's in the mode of forgiveness. And Spice brings up that she's still mad at Carly, y'all. And what she's mad at Carly for is because she says people are working outside of her house. Carly, we find out, rented out the house that she purchased for her daughter and to be close to Spice. Spice is all mad and all this. So Carly's like, I'm not going to move in. So she rents out the house so that she could pay the mortgage. You can't always just buy a house after, you know, you've bought a house. Some time has to go by. So she's renting out the house, and one of the people who rented out the house filmed a music video. When the music video was filmed, Spice claims that while she was away and her kids were home, which I don't believe at all. James's face is like, we know your kids wasn't home, Spice. Stop lying. She claims she looked on her security camera while her kids were home and saw men smoking and drinking across the street on the property that was not hers, not on public property, on their own property. They were smoking and drinking across the street. And Spice says that that makes her kids not feel safe. And that means her kids are at risk. People with kids use their kids for an excuse for any fucking thing.
I mean, that when I heard that, when she said, I said, Spice.
Are you kidding?
Ma'am,
you're from Jamaica.
You from Jamaica.
Where people just stand outside.
Well, it's not even so much that. Weed and like enjoyment of live and libations is a very known thing. I can't wait to experience that. But what I'm saying is that is something that is known in your home country. And I'm sure your children have seen it there. So what is the difference if they were home?
You bend over for a living because she doesn't sing or rap, Spice. She bends over and twerks that BBL all over the place. And you're concerned about your kids seeing people outside on their property smoking. Spice don't know how a neighborhood works.
But simultaneously, that's Carly's fault of why you mad at her. Because something that she had no control over.
You wanted her to not move in. So she didn't
Yeah.
move in.
So
You
she
say
didn't
you
move in.
didn't want her to move in because you don't feel safe. So she rents her house out as she fucking should and has a right to whoever
Right.
she wants to. They do something on the property, filming a video, whatever the fuck. Now you're upset because you don't know if they're safe. You make no sense. You had your kids around Carly and all of that. Now suddenly she's not safe. The people who she's renting her house to are not safe. You're supposed to be in an affluent neighborhood in Atlanta. I'm pretty sure that it wasn't nobody crazy across the street. And I'm pretty sure if there was, that other neighbors would have complained. Just saying, Spice. Spice is looking for a reason to be mad at Carly Red. And this is why, this, in my opinion, was one of the worst seasons of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. It was, half of it was manufactured bullshit that seemed scripted. And the other half of it involved narcissistic forms of manipulation and racial fucking, it was a hot mess. Give it back to VH1. Mona Scott Young is up there cooking up spells or something. Like, this did not make any sense this season. It made no sense. I'm not going to go over the whole fight with Spice and Carly. But what I will say is Spice claims to be changed. But we see her saying after she talks, and it's very clear, like, okay, Carly respects it. She's like, Spice don't want to talk to me. I won't talk to her. Rasheeda respected it. Everybody dropped the issue. So then we see Spice. I want to bust her in her fucking head. What the fuck is wrong with you, Spice? She's literally sitting there, like, acting anxiety filled. Like, I really want to harm Carly. I want to harm her. And you have the audacity to say that your kids and you don't feel safe when you're the one on camera talking about you want to bust this woman in her head, but you don't feel safe, Spice. If anything, you're a danger to her. Spice is the example of a mad Black woman. I'm saying it. And I'm Black, so I can say that. That lady has anger that I don't think has anything to do with anybody on this cast. She did not deserve the racial slur. However, people who behave like Spice, who are of this type of skin color that we got, make it harder for the rest of us who have some fucking sense. Because what the fudge are you doing? Like, that's really all I can say. She's literally discussing wanting to attack Carly and wait till the camera's in, Listen, Spice, in my opinion, is unhinged. She needs to be fired just as much as Mena was fired. She has been on this show for like 6 or 7 seasons, maybe a little longer. Right. And every season is the same thing. Someone has a problem, or she in her head gets a problem. She's unfair. She's unethical. She goes off. She's violent. Why are you trying to fight people when you still have your stomach fucking open? Like, what is going on? Most of this episode was surrounded around Spice's bullshit. I will say, Spice, you said that God gave you a second chance at life. Well, God also gave humans the ability to discover mental health, social sciences, and therapy. And I think that God would support you if you were to use your resources and go see somebody. That woman needs a therapist, and she does not need to be on TV.
Yes, I want her to check into like a retreat for counseling. I need her to check into one of those facilities. It's not, and I'm not saying mental health facility. I'm saying one of those retreats where
she needs a mental health facility. Something's wrong with that woman.
Because I don't know if it's pain. I don't know. Like, I don't know what that is, but she is really acting out a lot of different anger, and it's very scary to watch. And I don't know. There's something going on with her, and that's why I said, MTV, don't bring her back. If y'all really gonna take over this show,
and shade on the cast. I understand Carly Red's been lightly messy in previous seasons, but she's not been so messy that you guys can stand by.
She hasn't been messy in like the last maybe 2 seasons. She hasn't been messy.
Well, they still trying to take that, messy Carly Red thing. Nobody defended her but Jessica White. And I will give Jessica that. She said, I really don't care what these people think of me. I just put my arms around Carly. And I was glad Carly stood there while Spice tried to attack her, thinking the cameras were gone. How can production ethically think that this woman is someone who needs to be on TV?
But like I said,
reward her bad behavior by putting her on the racial topic, that little bullshit ass roundtable that they did.
Right. And MTV, y'all think y'all slick.
We couldn't even watch the roundtable, you guys. I
We
stayed
couldn't.
up thinking, okay, they said it's going to air right after Love and Hip Hop, right? That's what they said. But it did not air. It was online. You had to go look for it.
Yes.
Right. And all it confirmed is that Erica Mena really is racist. She told Yandy, when Yandy attempted to respectfully talk to her about it, you're choosing to be offended. That's just the response a racist would give. I will say that. So
it's like,
it's like
because when she said that, it was like, I'm not choosing to be offended. I'm in an environment to where you have created an unnorm of hostility, and then you want me to be subject. Because what makes you think that I don't also relate to that comment of being called a monkey?
The fact
Like
that
that,
Erica has Black children and doesn't understand the power in that comment, I worry for her kids, because moral of the story is she's so busy painting Safari as this horrible father. She's so busy trying to paint herself as a victim, and she's not realizing that your kids
the problem with
watch this
Safari.
someday, and they will never be able to feel safe talking to their mom when they experience racial discrimination. How can they when their mama is all over the world?
The problem of why she's painting Safari as such a negative picture is because she thought she was getting the man Nicki Minaj had.
Yeah.
That is what she thought.
Yeah.
And he's not that person anymore.
I mean,
and
when they were together, you couldn't even sense
you couldn't even
sparks.
sense. Yes,
There's
you couldn't sense
there.
any of that. So that's why I'm like, you angry because what you thought was going to happen never did happen. And that's the problem. And that's why I feel like Black people are monkeys to you and all this and everything that you're doing, is because you're angry that that man didn't show up for you in the way that he showed up for another woman. And I don't know where women get off thinking that men do that. That's not a product of his environment at the current moment. He's trying to rebel against that because it didn't get him anywhere. And that's a sad way to be. It's a sad way to be, because honestly, you shouldn't let somebody detour your own moral compass and values and what you used to be just because they couldn't be there for you in the way you needed them to be. So now you feel like being the asshole is going to win and being the cheater is going to win because that's what she eventually turned to. So it's like, I don't know. So Erica, I feel like you angry at that man, but you need to be angry at yourself for choosing that man. And then he needs to be
it was
responsible.
very clear when she got with Safari that he was rumored to be with Cameron's ex, then another chick before that. He's never been taken seriously. But to end the recap, the final thing we'll discuss, it's not going to take long at all. MTV aired the racial segment. Obviously, afterward, we saw that it was online. The reason I say it's not much of a discussion is because I'm side-eyeing the fuck out of MTV. Is MTV effectively trying to lose Black viewership? It looks like they are, because airing the slur, not doing anything about the slur after airing it until you see public backlash, making it something that you thought was so important just to put it online. The topic online also, when I went and looked, was surrounded around colorism, which is a form of racism, but in this case, this was not colorism. It's just they didn't handle the situation appropriately, and I hope that they do a better job. And the last comment really is, I hope Erica Mena's son marries the blackest, most chocolatiest woman that God could create on this earth, just to piss her off. And I hope that her daughter finds a strong chocolate brother who's going to treat her in the way that her mama was searching for. I really hope that. And I hope that she looks forward to explaining to the parents of the children that her kids date. How? Just because I made this comment about monkeys, your daughter can date my son. He's not that way, because all of that's going to come one day. When you fuck up in this capacity and on TV, you can't hide from it. So that was the season of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. It's only a 30-minute recap, which is crazy. But now that I talk about the episode after seeing it, most of it was just Spice going crazy and them trying to act like they give a fuck about the racial slur when the network does it. Mona Scott Young does it. I don't know if Love and Hip Hop will come back. If it does, I'm not recapping it. I'm just letting everybody know now.
There you have it, y'all.
James will tell you this shit almost wore me out every week. So I'm just not going to be recapping it after this. But I will continue to recap Love and Hip Hop Miami. We will also be picking up Basketball Wives and Basketball Wives Orlando on the Mrs. Best Reviews channel. So I hope everybody tunes in for that. But that is all. I bid you farewell, and I hope you all have the best night. Thank you for being here, James.
Thank you for having me. It was always honest and pleasure. Thank you.